Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda.
Hare Krishna. Here we are again. Bhagavad-gita, here it is. We call the channel because it is here. Bhagavad-gita as it is. A translation and commentary by His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada. And I'm Labanga Latika from Sweden. We are reading the 4th chapter, Transcendental Knowledge, and Krishna is describing himself to Arjuna, because the point comes up where Krishna is telling Arjuna he was just speaking this Bhagavad-gita previously to Vivasvani. And then Arjuna says, but that's millions of years ago. How does that work? How do I understand that? And Krishna is starting to describe his own nature, which is infallible, eternal, so many things. So I am reading text 6 today. Ajopisan avyayatma bhutanam ishvaropisan prakriting svamadhisthaya sambhavamyatma mayaya. So for those of you who like to learn verses by heart, this is one of those you can pick if you like. And the translation is as follows. Although I am unborn and my transcendental body never deteriorates, and although I am the Lord of all living entities, I still appear in every millennium in my original form. Purport. The Lord has spoken about the peculiarity of his birth. Although he may appear like an ordinary person, he remembers everything of his many, many past births. And here we have quotation marks around birth. Whereas a common man cannot remember what he has done even a few hours before. If someone is asked what he did exactly at the same time one day earlier, it would be very difficult for a common man to answer immediately. He would surely have to dredge his memory to recall what he was doing exactly at the same time one day before. And yet, men often dare claim to be God or Krishna. One should not be misled by such meaningless claims. Then again, the Lord explains his prakriti or his form. Prakriti means nature as well as svarupa or one's own form. The Lord says that he appears in his own body. He does not change his body as the common living entity changes from one body to another. The conditioned soul may have one kind of body in the present birth, but he has a different body in the next birth. In the material world, the living entity has no fixed body, but transmigrates from one body to another. The Lord, however, does not do so. Whenever he appears, he does so in the same original body by his internal potency. In other words, Krishna appears in this material world in his original eternal form with 2 hands holding a flute. He appears exactly in his eternal body, uncontaminated by this material world. So that is Krishna. That is the difference. I mean, there are many differences between us and Krishna. There are also many similarities, of course. That's why Lord Chaitanya is bringing together the main philosophies of the 4 Vaishnava Acharyas into that philosophy which is described as Achintya Bheda Abheda Tattva. Achintya means inconceivable, and Bheda and Abheda means oneness and difference. So at the same time we are the same as Krishna, and at the same time we are different from Krishna. So here Krishna is focusing on the differences. The similarities is we are eternal, we are Satchitananda, full of knowledge and bliss, and we are persons. But Krishna is an eternal person. He is never covered by illusion. He does never fall down. Even when he enters into this material world, he's not controlled by it. He's not affected by it. He brings his own spiritual nature to this world. And even to this day, we can go and visit Vrindavan, where Krishna appeared 5,000 years ago. And it may look like an ordinary village on the surface, but actually Krishna's eternal spiritual realm exists there because he brought it with him. And those are things that we cannot do, but Krishna can. And when we connect to Krishna, we turn to him and we worship him, not just to be polite, but because it is actually befitting. We are the living entities and he's God, and we will naturally be drawn to him, we will naturally want to serve him and glorify him and worship him in every way. Although he appears in the same transcendental body and is the Lord of the universe, it still appears that he takes his birth like an ordinary living entity. And although his body does not deteriorate like a material body, it still appears that Lord Krishna grows from childhood to boyhood and from boyhood to youth. But, astonishingly enough, he never ages beyond youth. At the time of the Battle of Kurukshetra, he had many grandchildren at home, or in other words, he had sufficiently aged by material calculation. Still, he looked just like a young man 20 or 25 years old. We never see a picture of Krishna in old age, because he never grows old like us, although he is the oldest person in the whole creation, past, present and future. Neither his body nor his intelligence ever deteriorates or changes. Therefore, it is clear that in spite of his being in the material world, he is the same unborn eternal form of bliss and knowledge, changeless in his transcendental body and intelligence. Factually, his appearance and disappearance are like the sun's rising, moving before us and then disappearing from our eyesight. When the sun is out of sight, we think that the sun has set, and when the sun is before our eyes, we think that the sun is on the horizon. Actually, the sun is always in its fixed position, but owing to our defective, insufficient senses, we calculate the appearance and disappearance of the sun in the sky. And because Lord Krishna's appearance and disappearance are completely different from that of any ordinary common living entity, it is evident that he is eternal, blissful knowledge by his internal potency, and he is never contaminated by material nature. The Vedas also confirm that the Supreme Personality of Godhead is unborn, yet he still appears to take birth in multi-manifestations. The Vedic supplementary literatures also confirm that even though the Lord appears to be taking his birth, he is still without change of body. So this example of the sun is very nice. It's actually very often we can use that example of the sun, because just as the sun is the center of the universe, giving light, giving energy to everyone, Krishna, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, is the center for the whole of existence, giving life and to everyone. Everything comes from him. And just as when the sun comes above the horizon, then we see it. When the sun goes down, we don't see it. But we are not lamenting that the sun has died now, because we have sufficient experience, we know it will come back. And Prabhupada here is saying, it's not actually that the sun comes and goes. The sun is the sun, and it's in its place, and our position changes. And sometimes we say, oh, now the sun is covered by a cloud. Sun is not covered by a cloud. Our vision is covered by a cloud. If we go somewhere else, I'm in Sweden, the sun is frequently covered by a cloud. I have also visited India. There is no cloud big enough and strong enough to cover the sun in India. Of course, there are different seasons, but in the sunny season, you will see the sun. And when the cloud covers the sun, we understand that the sun is not affected. It's just my vision is covered. So I don't see the sun. That is the problem. There's no problem with the sun, there's a problem with me. And with Krishna also, when we don't see God, it is not because God is not there, it's because we are covered by this illusion. So we're reading Bhagavad-gita now, we want to do something about that illusion, but that is the perspective. So when Krishna appears, in the Bhagavatam, it's described how he appears before his mother as Narayan with 4 hands and the decorations of the 6 kinds of full opulence. His appearance in his original eternal form is his causeless mercy bestowed upon the living entities so that they can concentrate on the Supreme Lord as he is, not on mental concoctions or imaginations, which the impersonalists wrongly think the Lord's form to be. So when Krishna appears, this is very interesting, his parents are put in prison by his uncle. So Kamsa, with uncles like that, who needs extra enemies. He hears the prediction that the child of his sister, his cousin sister Devaki, will kill him. So his first impulse is to kill Devaki on the spot. Vasudeva, Devaki's husband, manages to diplomatically discuss with him a different course of action. See, Devaki is no harm to you. Please don't kill her. Please don't kill your sister on the day of her wedding. Everybody will think badly about you. He doesn't care. Devaki will not harm you. He doesn't care. So the last resort there, Vasudeva promises him, so if you are afraid of Devaki's children, I will personally give you her children. Don't kill Devaki. So he said, all right. He trusts Vasudeva. He's an honest man. And he drives them to their home. Later on, he actually captures them again and puts them in prison, just so he shall be able to have access to those children as they are born. And he kills them one after another. Yes. But then we come to the point where Krishna actually appears. He does not take birth as a little child, screaming, helpless, practically unable to use any of the, even the eyes, a tiny little baby, they can't even focus their eyes, what to speak of their hands and legs. No, he appears in his full majestic Vishnu form, with 4 arms, with the garlands, with long beautiful hair, with silken cloths. Who takes birth with a flower garland? Krishna can do that because he doesn't take birth. He's not forced into the birth-taking business. He appears out of his own causeless mercy for his own purposes, which we will hear more about in the coming verses. So there, of course, if we haven't read the Bhagavatam, we haven't heard about Krishna, we don't know this. But now we know. Now we heard about it. That is the difference between us and Krishna. We come to this world, of course, ultimately we come from our own choice, that we decide to not be in the spiritual realm. Then we come here out of Krishna's mercy, because he hands us this world. He gives us this facility to try to be separate from him. But then at one point it's more like we are forced to take birth because of our karma. We don't appear with beautiful hair and flower garlands. We come squished in pain, forced out to take that birth. That's our birth. And Krishna, he doesn't have to come here, but he does come here because of his own kindness and his own plan, and we will hear more about it in the following verses. The word Maya or Atma Maya refers to the Lord's causeless mercy according to the Vishvakosha dictionary. The Lord is conscious of all of his previous appearances and disappearances, but a common living entity forgets everything about his past body as soon as he gets another body. He is the Lord of all living entities because he performs wonderful and superhuman activities while he is on this earth. Therefore, the Lord is always the same, absolute truth, and is without differentiation between his form and his self, or between his quality and body. A question may now be raised as to why the Lord appears and disappears in this world. This is explained in the next verse. So these are some of the qualities, these are some of the aspects of Krishna's appearance, and next time we will hear more about Krishna's own reasons as he explains them himself. So I hope you will join us for the next installment. Thank you very much. Hare Krishna.
Thank you for watching. We aim for updates every Tuesday and Friday. Please come back. If you have any questions or comments, please leave them down there. We also have some links and information for you. And there is, of course, the subscribe button. Thank you. Hare Krishna.
I'm a Hare Krishna, and I approve this message. Subscribe.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama.